But I think not losing hope and taking advantage of the good days and looking for solutions and ways to get better rather than just giving up.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Your Journey, where we gather stories of resilience, growth, and self discovery. Our guest for today is Naomi. Is that how you say your name?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so can you tell our listeners your whole name, where you from, what do you currently do, and what shaped who you are today?
My name is Naomi Orange. I am an actor primarily, and I'm also part of a company that we founded called Fruit Fly Theatre Company. In acting, I'm a big fan of doing like gritty roles. I also love Shakespeare and anything like movement based, so I do a lot of that. Yeah, like I recently did a production in the New York Theatre Fest of Shiva, which was about like a Jewish funeral and like social dynamics happening there. And then with the company, we mostly do things that adhere to punk ideals. We do a lot of work with immigrants and like non-male work and yeah, work with people of all internationalities and stuff like that. We recently did a reading of House of Bernarda Alba and we'll be doing a full production of that in March. So it's very
Oh,
exciting.
exciting. Who are you
Yeah.
are you performing in it?
I performed in the reading. I did like the narration, but the full production is going to be an all Latino cast.
What has been one of the biggest challenges you've faced so far?
I think in my career so far, I think in 2024, I was like chronically ill for like most of the year, like varying in like different severities. And I think that was a huge challenge because I was studying at Stella Adler during that. But I think not losing hope and taking advantage of the good days and looking for solutions and ways to get better rather than just giving up, just like staying active kept me going. And yeah, now I'm doing a lot better. So
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. I actually wanted to dive into that more. Like, what are the things that you did in order to like take care of yourself and actually get to, I guess you're feeling a lot better now in 2026 than in 2024. And what was that journey like?
I think the most important thing I learned was to not panic and despair. A lot of that my parents taught me. They're wonderful influences, but they would always be like, don't panic, don't despair. Just keep looking for like different methods and solutions to what you're going through. And I feel like that's a very important thing for facing challenges in general. But yeah, I just basically in the end I used like a combination of like medical help and I also did like hypnotherapy, surprisingly. And
Oh.
combining those things eventually made me a lot better. So yeah.
Cool. I don't think I've ever tried hypnotherapy before. Do you think that works?
I think it does. My sister swears by it. She used hypnotherapy for childbirth.
Oh,
So it's yeah.
wow.
And the studies are there. So I didn't believe it either, but now I do. So
Wow. I'll have to read up on that. That's so interesting. Okay. Was there a specific moment in your life where there was an aha moment that changed your perspective, the path that you chose, I guess, choosing where you are right now? Was there a moment like that?
I think I haven't had many of those moments in my life, but one I think I did have was when I initially moved here in 2023. And I
Where
remember
did
like
you move
walking down
from?
to I moved here from Australia.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I was born in the UK and then I moved to New Zealand and I moved to Australia and then I moved here. So I'm technically half English, half New Zealander, but I have an Australian accent and I have like three passports, so it's all very confusing. Um,
No, but
yeah.
that's a lot of moving for sure.
Yes, yes, I'm an expert in moving at this point in my life. But yeah, I remember I first moved here and I walked down to like the like Dumbo area with like my parents and I saw like the landscape and I just had sort of this moment where I was like, oh my gosh, like before I knew I was going to school, I had no real dream or intention of moving to New York. But then as soon as I got here, I was like, oh, this is where I'm meant to be. Like this is where I'm meant to live my life. Like I feel like the city is perfectly like congruent with my who I am as an individual, and it just feels like sometimes it feels like you're like sort of part of the city. I feel like living here, and yeah, I realized that I would never want to leave, basically.
No, I totally understand that. I feel like there are like places that really call to you. And that was the
Mm.
same for me with New York. I was also here on vacation and I was just like, oh, the city is calling. So I can definitely relate.
Yeah, I bet everyone says it about New York,
I
but
know.
whatever. I don't even care.
No, but there are people that have the call, but then the city spits them out. Like after a few years, I know so many people that were like, actually, the city is not for
Actually,
me.
I can't do this.
Yeah. What accomplishment or accomplishments are you most proud of and why?
I think I'm always most proud of things that I'm able to accomplish in like a time of hardship or things that take the most hard work to accomplish. Yeah, I think for example, like when I was younger, I had like a very tough time in my last year of high school with like my mental health and then COVID as well. And I managed to graduate with like an extremely high score and it took so much work. And so I was very proud of that. Didn't end up using it because I didn't go to university in Australia, but it was very important to me.
Yeah.
Also, I made a lot of improvement with acting while I was at Stella Adler, even though I was going through like chronic illness at the time. And most recently, I think I'm very proud of the production that my company Fruitfly did of The Wish because we started the production with no funding. We started like from scratch and we managed to make a wonderful production. So I was very, very proud of that. And yeah, it was also hard, surprisingly, to
Yeah.
act and direct and produce at the same time. Not
Oh,
easy as one would, as unpredictably. So yeah, that was something I was very proud of.
no, I can imagine. Like, I'm curious, how long have you had fruit fly?
We started it last year in August, I believe, like just after end of summer. So
Okay.
yeah,
And how's the dynamic of like working? I guess who are you with in that company?
I work with Valentina Avila and Valentine Marie, and we met at Adler, and yeah, now we work together, and yeah, I think we're a very good trio. We all have like our different strengths and stuff like that. So yeah, we work
What,
well together.
what would you say your strengths are?
I'd say I'm a very organized and detail-oriented and schedule-y person, so I'm very good at that aspect of things. Yeah, I'm very good at like making sure we don't miss anything, like going through everything chronologically. Yeah, I'd say I'm good at like keeping things regimented and on track. Whereas, I don't know, some like Valentine is very good with like the social aspects of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like sort of like
The PR?
liaising with
Oh,
like other people in the company and going out there and doing and Valentina is very good at like the big swings that it takes a lot of the time, whereas I'm sort of like a walking along the beaten
yes.
track, pickaxe and shoveling my way along and making sure things happen, I guess.
No, but I think that's very much needed because when it comes to like artists, it can get pretty big and
Mm.
up in the air for sure. So we always need someone like you to keep
Yeah, I think
things.
I'm rare in that aspect as an
Yeah.
artist. I'm very logical, which I feel
Yeah.
like isn't that common for artists.
What is something you're passionate about and how has it influenced your journey?
I'm extremely passionate about self-expression, like physically. Like I'm very much into punk and rave culture. It's like a big part of who I am. Like fashion and yeah, I think like also I don't really conform to like gender norms and I'm also queer, so I think a lot of that represents how I present physically and I think one of my hobbies, even though it's not seen as like a hobby a lot of the time, curating like the way I look, customizing my avatar, if you will, doing makeup and like fashion stuff. And I feel like growing up, you're always told that you have to like look professional and you have to do this and that. But I think I've realized that that's actually not true. Like there's ways to look professional like within whatever style that you express yourself as. But I've found that so many career opportunities that have been presented to me have happened because of the way that I present rather than like hindering me. Like my manager told me that when they were looking for people to meet with, they were like, you stood out to us because you had this unique sense of style that demonstrated that you knew who you were. And that's happened like a few times, honestly, since then, where people have been like, yeah, you stood out to us because of this. And I think, and it's just really nice because I never thought that that would happen to me growing up, I guess.
No, that's so good. I was actually looking at your Instagram and I was like really enjoying your different photos and the way that you put on makeup and everything. Would you be okay if I shared your Instagram to
Yeah,
our viewers? What's your Instagram handle again?
it's Naomi Orange with two E's on orange.
All right, everyone, check it out. She has some wonderful posts on her Instagram. Who or what inspires you to keep moving forward even during the tough times?
What inspires me to keep moving forward is it's like counterintuitive, but I think the fear of wasting my life that keeps me moving forward. I think that fear and embarrassment will keep you standing still. And I think a lot of things about the world, especially right now, makes you just want to curl up in bed in your room. But there's so many like precious days and experiences that you'd be wasting if you did that. And I think it's just important to keep moving. I think doing anything is better than doing nothing at all. And there's so much to enjoy, even just like going for a little walk. Or, yeah, I think appreciating things in life inspires me to keep going.
No, definitely. I also need to remind myself, stop and smell the roses for sure, and see that life is okay. Even with all the craziness, you can find pockets of sunshine. What are some valuable lessons that you've learned through life?
I think lots of things in terms of acting when I started acting professionally, especially because I came from like a world where like being in high school, I was one of those sort of, I guess it goes hand in hand with like the punk whatever things, but I was a very like rebellious teenager, I guess, sort of. I was always like very dry and sarcastic and whatever. And I think back then I would always get like really good grades, and so it didn't matter like how I behaved or how I acted. And yeah, I expressed myself in that very like sort of cut and dry kind of way. And then I think when I moved here, especially because there's lots of differences with the professional culture in America, learned the skill of like how you need to act in a professional like especially with the arts. So much of the arts like is not revolving around how good you are, and that was very new to me because with like school it pretty much all revolves around like how smart you are and what you're doing with that. But I think I did a lot with learning how to interact with how to receive criticism, how to take direction, how to collaborate with others, how to always keep a smile on your face even when like you're getting like all this stuff thrown at you. That along with your fear of embarrassment will hold you back exponentially. And like the fear of being cringe will hold you back exponentially from what you could do. And I think I remember I think you might know him actually, Antonio, my friend, Antonio Kakuza. I remember he was talking about being good and this idea of being good. And he was like, Naomi, I will never be a good actor. It's all about striving to be good, but you will never be good enough for yourself. And I feel like that is such an important lesson because I always had this like very young, naive idea of acting when I was a kid that like if you're good enough, you'll have a really successful career. But that really isn't it at all. It's like a long, like regimented effort to maintain a career for yourself and like chasing being good will never make you happy. It will never make you fulfilled. And yeah, I mean, everyone always says there's no bad actors, there's just bad choices. And I think that's absolutely true. I think you shouldn't be paying so much attention to whether you're talented or not because it can change on any given day. You can do a terrible job one day and a really good job another day. Being fulfilled by growth rather than what you deem as success is a really good mind shift to make going into the career.
No, definitely. I always think about, and in school, we had this wonderful teacher, Jimmy, but he passed away already. And I'm kind of sad that you weren't able to get him as a teacher. But he would always say that if you were to really chase success in this field, you will be very unhappy because again, it's always there are so many things out of our control. We can definitely think of like, oh, I think I'm talented, but unfortunately, the other side of the table maybe may see your talent, but might be looking for a different mix of different things. It could be actually your hair doesn't match or your
Mm.
height. So many things go into it that I really do believe that success shouldn't be what really gives us the fulfillment for it, even though it would be great to have to be successful. But I do wish success for you in your career for sure. So still manifesting that for you.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. Is there a quote or mantra or belief that you live by?
I have a few. I think
Mm.
one that I truly live by, even though it's very cliche, is like carpe diem. I have it like written on my wall because I
Oh,
think that it's so important to, if you say yes to everything, like amazing things happen to you. But then there's other ones that I have a few that I like when I'm going through like tough times or doing something really scary. One started off as a joke, but it's actually kind of helpful sometimes. And it's like the quote from Dune where they say like, fear is the little death that will bring total obliteration. Sometimes I'll like say it to myself in my head before I'm about to do something really scary. And I also like recently I've been liking Until Death Every Defeat is Psychological. That's been a good one to keep me going.
oh, I love
It's so
that.
good.
That's
I
so
love it. It's like you
good.
won't die if something, you won't die. So
Yeah.
it's not that bad. Oh, I think also whenever I'm sad, I love listening to Sam's speech from the end of Lord of the Rings. I think that one's so beautiful when the world feels hopeless.
Can you share? Do you know kind of the gist of what Sam's speech is?
Because Frodo says something along the lines of like, "What are we fighting for?" And he says, "But there's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for." Is the gist basically. And he talks about like the stories you hear when you're young about like these heroes saving the day, and just it's about like believing in good in the world.
I'll have to revisit.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Maybe we can
Love
also
it.
edit like a part of Sam's speech here.
Yeah, we'll put it in.
Yes. Okay. How do you define a remarkable life?
I think I define a remarkable life. I mean, I think it's different for everyone, but for me, two things that I really want out of life, I think community is such an important part of what brings me happiness. Like without community, I wouldn't be anything, I don't think. I love the people I surround myself with, and I think lots of people think that they want one thing when they're really just missing community, especially in like American society. I feel like there's a lot of, because of the individualistic nature of things, people don't realize how much they need community and how much they're missing community. And I think that's really the key to happiness. That, along with like new experiences, like just sucking the nectar out of life and such. I think I also just want to keep achieving things. Like, no matter what it is, I just don't want to be stagnant in my life. I don't want to be settling in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need some great goal. Like I don't like need to win an Oscar to feel fulfilled in life. I just want to do things that I'll be impressed with myself that I've done them, I think.
I'm curious because you've lived in different countries. Do you think it's different, the feeling of having a community in the US versus the other countries that you've been in?
Absolutely. I think in not that I've ever lived in Europe, but I think traveling to Europe and even like in Australia actually, like more like rural towns, like everyone has these friends, but they've like grown up with their entire lives and they're like 50 years old and they're still like they still have like a friend group. And I feel like that's similar in Europe as well. Like everyone still has these like friend groups. Whereas I feel like in Western, especially like city societies, I find it so rare to see like older adults with like a group of friends. And everyone just normalizes it like, oh, everyone's so like you won't have like a friend group when you're older, that like that's not normal. Like, everyone's like busy, blah blah blah. And I'm like, but no, that's the problem. Like that shouldn't be normalized to not have any friends as you get older. I think it's so important and people keep chasing money or their careers or like their love lives because they don't have that important building block lifting them up from the inside, I think, which is so key. And I think even being in New York and chasing like the hustle, grind mindset leaves you with so little time. But I think that one needs to sacrifice some things they're doing to socialize. And I think it's very easy in New York with like how easy public transport is to get around, everything like that. I think there's a lot of excuses that you could make, but I think it's one of those things that's so important that you need to
Yeah.
engage in it.
I know that's also something that I've been struggling with when I moved here because back in the Philippines as well, I guess it's culture-wise, like friends could just drop in my apartment
Mhm.
without even texting me, and it's okay. And I feel like here in New York, like you always have to schedule something.
Mhm.
And like that's so I feel like, oh, it's harder to actually connect because it feels like a business transaction and putting it
Yeah,
on like your planner to be able to be with friends for sure.
yeah, we've cultivated that in our house, and I'm very happy about it. We have lots of friends that live in the neighborhood, and so everyone just walks in all the time, and it's great.
Oh,
Couldn't make me happier.
beautiful. You'll have to tell me how you were able to cultivate that. I need to have that as well for my neighborhood. What are your goals and dreams for the future?
I think my dreams and goals for the future is to remain in New York and keep building my career here. That's like my main focus at the moment with everything that's happening, like immigration wise. I just feel like this is the place for my career to grow, especially with like the connections that I've made here with everyone and like the artists I know and love here. I think it's a great place to be. That said, though, I would also like along the track, I would love to have acting take me other places. Like I would love to do a lot more traveling. I feel like that's also front and center of my mind on like stuff I want to be doing at this stage of my life. I really want to just see the world and stuff like that, but I won't be able to do when I get like really old, for example. You know, we only have so much time. So I really want to get out there and see everything I can, I think. And I think if I could do that while doing what I love, it would be really awesome.
I know. I would, I think I would like the same thing for me as well. So let's keep lighting candles for both of us. And what advice would you give to someone who is going through a tough time or is in the middle of chasing their dreams?
I think I would say staying active is the most important thing in either situation. I think just keep approaching life with different tactics and don't stagnate and don't freak out. Just think, what can I do? And keep chasing it that way. I think community is the key to not only happiness, but also to career. I mean, everyone says everything about networking, but
Yeah, oh
it's
yeah.
true. I don't even like the word networking. Like, I think it's just making meaningful connections with people, and people want to help you. Like, and I think if anyone was in this scenario where they could help someone and they didn't have a reason not to, everyone would. So, yeah, I think knowing that and knowing that people are on your side in your career is very important. Yeah, I think also people have this like preconceived notion. Like, I think if something isn't happening for you, you can make it happen for yourself. And people have this preconceived notion that like ordinary people can't do things. And like, I had that notion. Like, I never thought I would move to New York and I never thought I would start a company. But the reality is, like, once you do these things, like, no one stops you. Like, you look around, you're waiting for someone to stop you, but no one does. Yeah, I think if more people remove that block in their brain that they can't do things because they're not from a wealthy family or they're not from, like, a family of artists or, like, anything like that. Like, you can just do these things. Like, it's hard, but nothing's gonna stop you.
Beautiful. And I know we've already said a lot of things, but to our listeners and viewers for today, what's one message you would like to tell them?
I don't know. I mean, I'm no Socrates or anything like that. But I think yeah, I think living loudly is a good mantra to live by. I think all of the stuff that I have learnt is to not let fear hold you back. So I think, yeah, live loudly.
I like that. Very poetic. All right. And I think that ends our interview. Thank you so much, Naomi.
Thank you so much for having me.